Geely have been kicking goals recently with their electric car sales. They've doubled their sales and, in fact, doubled their profits. The Geely Panda is their latest electric car. It's actually pretty cool and it's very, very affordable. It's possible, considering Geely is a global car manufacturer. Obviously, they have Volvo and Polestar plus Zeekr to count among their international electric car brands, that we could one day see this car in places like Europe, maybe even places like Australia. You never know. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. It's great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. The latest electric vehicle that Geely have revealed is called the Panda Knight. It made its official debut on Monday, when official details and images of this mini SUV were revealed. And considering the success of the past 24 months, around about 24 months of the latest Suzuki, the little Suzuki Jimny is probably by far Suzuki's most popular vehicle, period, globally. And it's kind of like a cute vehicle that's similar in size to this. Well, the small version is anyway. But of course, it's much more expensive. But it's a huge waiting list for the Suzuki Jimny. It has a bit of a cult following. This, to me, in some ways, is a bit like this car. This is a bit smaller, but it's electric. And it's, like I said, a lot cheaper. In fact, it starts at a price of $6,800 coming with a 200-kilometer range. However, there's other models as well. How big is it? Well, it's actually a 4-seater, not a 5-seater, and it's 3,135 millimeters long, 1,565 millimeters wide, and 1,655 millimeters tall. So it's taller than it is wide. That's a bit unusual for a car. Wheelbase is quite long. Considering its size, it's 2,015 millimeters, or just over 2 meters. The back row can be folded down, and if you do fold that back row down, the boot has an 800-litre load space, and it can take two 28-inch and two 20-inch suitcases. What I really love about these small cars is the boxy, practical shape of them. Car manufacturers making these kinds of cars, they really try to squeeze out as much possible space as they can get from the size of these, diminutive vehicles. They're diminutive, but actually, when it comes to value, they're incredibly good value. So this means the Jimny is about half a meter longer. Yeah, it's certainly bigger, but not hugely bigger. And one cool thing I like about this new Geely EVs is, like all these Chinese EVs we're seeing lately, it's very digitally focused. It's got a really minimalist, simple design interior. I really do think we have Tesla to thank for this kind of minimalistic idea in EVs. And sure, some people hate it, but you've got to admit that when it comes to design, it looks absolutely fantastic. For an EV costing this much money, less than $7,000 the interior to me looks absolutely incredible. So from looking at those images, you can see there's a 9.2-inch display for the driver. There's an 8-inch center screen. There's also a dual spoke flat bottom steering wheel. Doesn't make the car fast, but it does look kind of cool. It's got a knob type gear shift mechanism. I've got no idea what that means, but that's what carnewschina.com says. And it supports cell phone sensor free connectivity, APP remote control, and Bluetooth keys for cell phones. Now, there's not many cars you can buy that have phone sensor free connectivity. So that's pretty cool. Now, how powerful is it? Is it a car that, you could realistically drive on Western roads? Well, it has a 30 kilowatt, around nearly 50 horsepower motor. Peak torque is 110 newton meters, and it has a lithium iron phosphate battery from Goshon High-Tech. Goshon High-Tech are the company that are about to build 2 lithium iron phosphate battery factories, the 2 biggest ones in North America. Chinese company, owned 75% by various interests, including mostly Chinese interests, but 25% of the company is owned by the Volkswagen Group. The battery supports 22 kilowatt DC fast charging, so relatively slow charging for DC charging, and it takes about an hour to charge from 30% to 80%. However, it can be charged at home, of course, on a 3.3 kilowatt speed. So yeah, pretty slow charging, but the reason for this is obviously Geely are trying to keep the cost down. Now there is another version of this car, and you're probably thinking, this looks familiar. Well, that's because there's another Geely car called the Panda Mini EV. And that one is sort of like the non-SUV version of this car. It looks very, very cute, kind of like a cute bug-eyed looking car. I really like it, but personally, I definitely think this one looks even better. There's so many companies in China lately that have been really kicking goals on style. The style of these little mini cars. You would think that, when it comes to styling cars like this, they just look geeky or they look bad, but they do a really, really good job. Now, I really wish that more brands would start selling these cars in other countries worldwide. I think this would be perfect for many European cities. European cities and European streets are very, very narrow. Parking spots are really small. This to me would be the perfect car for that. Think about it. Dacia Spring, one of the best-selling, I think it's the second best-selling EV in all of Europe this year. How big is the Dacia Spring? Well, it's actually not much bigger than this. In fact, the Dacia Spring is made in China. However, of course, Dacia is a brand that's owned by Renault. Anyway, the length, 3.7 meters long. So the Dacia Spring it's only, 60 centimeters or a little bit less, in fact, than 60 centimeters longer than this. Yeah, sure, that does make it quite a bit bigger, but not a massive, massive difference. Now imagine if Geely went and said, you know what, maybe if the Dacia Spring is so popular, we could try selling this in Europe. Even if Geely sold it for twice the price, it'd still be a really good price. You'd still be looking at less than about $13,500 US dollars. And I think it'd sell really well in that price spec. All it needs is maybe just a little bit more power, so it can easily do 100 kilometers an hour on Europe's freeways. And I reckon they'd be onto a winner. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.